Welcome to Mario Zna podcast, where together, me and you cut through the wires of censorship. Tonight's guest here in Belgrade, but from France, is a political analyst, traditionalist, a man who loves his country and who respects other countries also. The true nationalist, you will see. His name is Pol Antoan, and he comes from France. Paul, welcome to Mario Zna podcast.
Dobroveče. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here.
Paul, really, thank you so much again for accepting the invitation. Well, let's jump to the questions right away. When we talk about European Union, and we will come to Serbia, and we will come to Balkans and Republika Srpska and Kosovo and Metohija. But first of all, you are living in Europe as a continent, but your country is part of European Union. And France has a leader, at least mainstream media tells us like that, and he is a president. You have a president, Emmanuel Macron, who not sometimes, maybe all the times, but not when his wife is slapping his face, But he is trying. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but he's trying to be Napoleon with his acts, with his when he's threatening to send the army to Ukraine, when he is threatening other countries. Is he a new Napoleon of France, or?
Well, I wish he would be the new Napoleon of France. Helping Karadzic and doing the Serbian uprising. But unfortunately, he's not the new Napoleon, and the comparison is not nice for Napoleon. I believe Napoleon was a true patriot, a great emperor. He led France. He made what France is today, not only because of him, thanks to him, but mostly he was, I think, he's the most important figure in the French history. And of course, Macron is not. He's one of the worst. But I agree with you. He believes he has a role, and he believes his role. He believes he has a role in history, and he sees his role as let's say, the last president of France. Because he wants to make France diluted into European Union. He wants to completely destroy France into European Union. He doesn't believe in France. He said many times that France has no culture. For example, telling to French people, I'm sorry, I'm French. I have the best food. I have the best language. I have the best women. I have everything. I'm French. So, and he's telling us that we don't have cultures. He's like telling to Italians, oh, your food is not good. Come on, let's be honest. It's not true. And why is he doing that? And, I will make a quick comparison with Serbia. If you want to make European Union, I'm speaking about European Union, not Europe, not the 2,000 years old Europe of the Greek, of the Roman, of France, of Spain, of Italy. No, I'm speaking about European Union here. When you want to make European Union, you have to destroy the great nation of France. You have to make sure France is not great. It's exactly the same with Yugoslavia. Whether it's socialist Yugoslavia or Kingdom of Yugoslavia, you have to destroy Serbia. You cannot have a strong Yugoslavia if Serbia is strong. It's the same in European Union. You cannot have a strong European Union if France is strong. So what do? You work with Germany, which is the biggest enemy of France. You work with Great Britain. I don't have to say what about Great Britain and France. And of course, with the States, when they have a liberal government. And with all of them, you destroy France. The idea is to mix population, to destroy the population, the people of France. And then when you destroy the people of France, you will destroy the people of Great Britain, of Germany, of Serbia, of course, of Romania. It started in Romania as well. And, to do that, what is uniting people? You speak the same language. We are not the same. You and me, we are European, but we don't speak the same language because I'm not Serbian, because you're not French. We have the same religion and we have the same cultures. So look, Macron said there is no French culture. So culture out. Language. It's easy. People now, you tell them to come, not to speak French, not to speak German. Many times I heard Germans saying, oh, German is so hard. So, the Syrian coming, it's fine. They only speak Arabic. No, you come to Germany, you speak German. You come to Serbian, you don't speak perfectly Serbian. But if you want to live in Serbia, like 10, 20, 25 years, you speak Serbian. So language, and then religion. Religion, I'm not speaking about going to mosque, going to church. Religion is your tradition. Religion is what keeping your tradition alive. And when you destroy religion, churches, when you mock religion, as we did in France with the Olympic game ceremony, then it destroying what keeps people living together. They don't have values anymore. They don't have common grounds to speak. They don't have common language. And then, they start to make fighting between each other. Look, you're Serbian, I'm French. 20 years ago in France, in Germany, the propaganda was trying to make barriers between French people and Serbians. Like, we are not the same. Of course we are the same. You are European, I am European. And 1 century ago, France went to help Serbia because we were European, because we are Christian. We have the same values. Okay, some stuff are different. Your priests are not treated the same as ours. Our churches are a bit different. Fine. But at the end of the day, we celebrate the same way. We both like wine. We both like rakia. We just call it differently. We both have the same European history, And when you destroy that, you start to make people fighting between each other. But European people fighting between each other. And then other people can come from Africa, from Asia, from Pakistan, from everywhere. They can come like in UK, wrapped little girls and say, it's our cultures. So look, in France, we don't have any cultures, but in Pakistan, it's good. They can come in UK and, they wrapped the girls, but they didn't know. Okay, fine, they didn't know. And, talking about the Syrian in Germany, it's their cultures. Okay, fine. So I don't have cultures, you don't have cultures, but they have a cultures, and when their cultures doesn't match with our cultures, we have to adapt. No, it doesn't work like that. When you are at the Romans, you do like the Romans. When I go in Syria, I do like Syrians. When I go in Serbia, I do like Serbians. When I go in Egypt, I do like Egyptian. And when you come to France, you do like French. So, and to conclude, a French socialist prime minister during First World War, Clemenceau, a really tough guy, said, to the guy who has nothing left because he's too poor, he still has the nation. Because, when you are rich, let's take the example of Elon Musk. You don't care if USA collapse. You don't care if South Africa collapse because, man, you are so rich you can buy countries. So you don't care when you are rich. When you are bourgeois, like Serbian bourgeois, traveling to Paris, traveling to New York and so on, you don't care if your country collapses. Same with France. But when you are poor, who is protecting you? Who is protecting you to have good food, good Serbian food, or good French food? Good French wine, who is protecting your borders, who is protecting your small, tiny economies. It's your nation. So we need to be united into nations. And when you destroy the nation, you destroy the people, you create a jungle, you create a wild jungle where 2-3% of the population can survive because they are cosmopolites, they have a flat in Paris, London. I studied in London. I studied in Moscow, I studied in Geneva, so I know about what I'm talking about. When I speak about liberalism, I know because I studied among them. When I speak about cosmopolitanism, I know because I worked among them. So, I'm not a stupid advisor of Serbian government who believe, because, he did 2 trips in the world, who believes he knows what he speaks about. I know what I speak about, because I'm not ashamed to say I'm kind of part of that world because I live in Paris. I have no choice. I'm going to TV almost every day. So I am part of that. I am against, but I'm part of that. So, except those 2-3% of the population that can survive, the rest will collapse and they will simply die because they have no other choice. And then the French people will die, the German people will die, the Serbian people will die, and so on and so on and so on. Look, we will speak about it later. But, when the Serbian authority left Kosovo, the Serbian people died. It's the end of the story. It's the same in France. When the French authority, police, army, church, political, economical, cultural authorities left, French people died. It's how it is.
I'm listening to you very carefully, and I can see that as much as Serbs, us, can learn watching what is happening inside of European Union and the poor decisions of your governments, that we can learn that something similar can happen to us with importing the migrants and everything that's happening. Also awaken people, nationalists, traditionalists from European countries can learn a lot from Serbs when it comes to defending their traditions, religion, family, a country. You get where I'm going.
Yes, I see, and actually you posted on X a few hours ago, I think, a comparison between Serbian church being destroyed in Kosovo during the pogrom in 2004 and what's happening in the UK right now, or even actually what's happened in France. You know, when the biggest, most beautiful church, you know, in the Christian Catholic world, Our Lady of Paris, Notre Dame de Paris, has been burned. You know, it was of course an accident. You know, it's always an accident. You know, Ucheka didn't want to burn the church. You know, it was accident. It's always like that, and it's part of destroying our identity. You know, when you destroy churches in Kosovo, you don't only destroy the stones. You know, you destroy the people who build. You destroy the proof of identity. You know, when the British, because British colonized Ireland, they changed the name on the grave, on the grave of the people, not to make them Irish anymore, but to make them British. It's what Albanians do in Kosovo. Every time I went in Kosovska Mitrovica, in the cemeteries, they destroy the big stone of Serbian names because it's proof of Serbian living there. Same in France, you know. Burning Our Lady of Paris, Notre Dame de Paris, is burning a proof of what the French people did hundreds of years ago, and actually that we cannot do anymore. We cannot build a church as beautiful as Notre Dame de Paris because we don't have the techniques anymore. And it's not only burning stones, it's burning heritage, it's burning a way of life, is burning who we are, what we are. You know, when that church burned in France, in Paris, all French people burned a bit, you know, because we are all part of that church. And what's happening in the UK is exactly that. And it's what I told you, you know, you have to burn the religion, to destroy the religion, to make the people feel alone. You know, it's very important that people are alone and not united together. You know, if people meet every Sunday at the church, they are not alone. You know, they have people, they have supporters, they have people they can speak to at the end of the church, and they can ask for help and so on and so on. But if people are alone, you know, they don't go to restaurant anymore because, you know, they order on Deliveroo or, you know, I don't know how you call it in Serbia. I never use those shitty platforms. So they don't go in restaurant. They don't go out to clubs anymore because, you know, it's too expensive. And, you know, now they just go on OnlyFans, YouPorns and stuff like that. So they don't have any life, you know. They don't make friends because they only have social interaction. So, you know, they don't have a real friendship anymore, you know, true friendship, friends you travel with and so on. So, you know, they do everything to make people alone and to have a fake life in a real world online. But life is not online. And when you are not online, when you are all together, united, and once again, you know, it's going to restaurants, going to bars, having real friends, real friendship, going to church and things like that, then, you know, you are not alone. You are part of a clan, you are part of a family, you are part of a nation, and then, you know, you can move forward, and then you are free, you are independent. And just to finish, in France, like in Europe, like in Serbia actually, they want to destroy family. Why do they want to destroy family? Because family is the first protection for the kids. And when you can manipulate the kids, then you don't have to worry about the future. When you can manipulate a kid of 10 years to tell him, you know, religion is bullshit. And I'm speaking about religion here, you know, because that can also happen to some Muslim states, like, for example, in Syria. It's what they did in Syria. You know, it was a secular state that destroyed Syria. So, you know, when you can manipulate and corrupt a kid to make him believe even that you are not a man, just imagine, you know, you have a kid of like 5, 6 years old, he's back from school and will say, oh, Dad, I'm not a man anymore. I'm a girl. How do you respond to that? I mean, honestly, I don't have kids, but if I have, I will be speechless. Like, how can I explain to a guy he's a guy and not a girl? So, you know, when you manipulate kids, then you can do whatever you want for the next 50 years. That's why they want to destroy family. They want to destroy relationship between men and women. You know, they created toxic feminism. I'm not anti-feminist, but I'm against toxic feminism. You know, now they gave opportunity to girls. You know, the choice of girls is to be either a model of on OnlyFans, or, you know, to do nothing. That it's not how it works. You know, girls, they're the most important thing in our society because they are the one giving birth. That's the most important, the most beautiful thing in the world. We should cherish girls. Actually, I believe, I was on TV today and I spoke that a guy who is beating his wife, I think for me, should be in death penalty. That guy is not a guy, you know. No matter how tough he is, how tattoos, I don't give a shit. You know, you beat your girlfriend, your wife, should be death penalty because, you know, women are the most important, the most beautiful thing in our civilization, in our in our country, in our nation, because they give birth. You know, we don't give birth, and you know they destroyed the relation between men and women.
Yeah, but of course, I agree with you on everything that you said. But before we come to death penalties for our countrymen and our fellow citizens who are beating down or hitting their beloved wives, what to do with people who beat down, rape, and kill our women, and they are coming from Middle East or Africa?
Well, first you don't let them up. You don't let them come. That's the first thing. You know, you tell them, okay, look, you don't come. End of the story. You know, we can have immigration. First, we can have European immigration. You know, I read that Serbia signed a deal. You know, your beloved Minister of Diplomatic Affairs, Marko Đurić, signed a deal to export thousands.
Mr. Bean.
Yes, to export thousands of Africans to Serbia. But why do you need Serbs? Why do you need Africans to do the job? It means Serbs, you are not able, you are not smart enough, strong enough to do the job. That's bullshit, you know. And then you can speak to other countries. You know, you can speak to Bulgarians, you can speak to Romanians. If really you need people, which is not the case, you know. But you see what I mean? We can speak with a European framework. But once again, I come back to why they want to destroy European people, because they don't want to have Serbian migrants in France. They want to have African migrants in France because, you know, we can speak between Serbs and French. You know, as I said, we have the same culture, the same common culture, not 100% same, but we can. Now, answering your question, first, we don't let them come. First. Then second, you get a guy, he raped, he beat, or even tried to rape a girl. Fine, he goes back to his country. Like, simple. You take a flight, you know, you have Air Serbia, it's working pretty well. Aide, ciao, thank you for coming. It was really nice having you. Now you go back to your country and you don't come again. You know, Serbia has no sea. You know, Serbia has easy borders to control. So you apparently have an army. You put your army on the borders. You have very strong gendarmerie. So you know what? You take the gendarmerie out of the street, you know, beating Serbian people, and you put it on the border with Croatia, with Bosnia, with Kosovo, you know, even if Kosovo is part of Serbia, but you put it here, and you put it with all the border of Serbia, and you control your borders. And you say, okay, you can come, you cannot come. Thank you for coming. You know, when I was living in Serbia, it was years ago, I was studying, so I had to apply for a visa. You know, I stayed more than 3 months. And I went to the internal office for a visa. Beautiful office, believe me. Gives a very good image of Serbia. You know, when you go there, believe me, you don't want to go back to Serbia. And then, you know, I came one day to the office. I was the only white European. And I spoke to the girl next to me. She was a Libyan, you know, with the hijab and so on. I just asked her how, you know, she was speaking very well English. And I said, what do you do in Serbia? I mean, are you diplomat, or, I mean, what a Libyan is doing in Serbia? Do you have business? I mean, I'm always interested, you know. She told me, oh, no, I'm not living in Serbia. And I said, but why do you want to get visa? I mean, why don't you go to Bosnia? It's a Muslim country. She told me, no, I just want to get a visa. And then because one day Serbia will join EU, Okay, let's speak about that later. But and then I will be in a European country, and I ask her, but you will not get the visa if you don't live here. She told me, no, of course I will get the visa. I will buy a flat and I will get the visa. And then, I cannot blame her for doing that. But I blame the authorities. I blame the girl that give her a visa. So you stop that. You say, okay, look, you want to come to Serbia? Fine. Welcome. I was really happy to come to Serbia. I'm still very happy to come to Serbia. I guess one day I will be banned from your beautiful government, but I love going to Serbia. But you have to control your borders. Say, look, you can come to Serbia. You cannot come to Serbia. And you give reasons. Look, you want to come to Serbia or to France, just because you want to get citizenship, to enjoy, free healthcare in France and so on. I understand. I don't blame you for that. France has good healthcare system. You want to get it for free. I understand. But, we will not give you citizenship for that. And plain and simple, you make your job, you say, you can come, you cannot come. It's easy at that. And then you control your border. The most important thing, the first sovereignty, is to control your country, to control your border. And France, for example, doesn't control its border. European Union doesn't control its border anymore.
We have maybe like a few countries, maybe 2 or 3 countries in European Union that are like fighting against that kind of integrating all the countries into union and losing the tradition. I'm talking about Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland.
Yes.
Even if Polish people from Poland are like people think that they're all anti-Russian, bro. They're more anti-Brussels than anti-Moscow right now, as I can see. But please just tell me before I want us to come to the question: why is then Serbia with its government and European Union with their leaders? Why are they wanting Serbia to join European Union, and why Serbian government wants to join an organization which is more corrupted right now than Mexican drug cartel or Colombia? Let's speak about corruption. How big is corruption inside the EU?
2 things about corruption. I lived in Serbia. I also lived in Russia. I studied 1 year in Russia. And in Russia, everyone is speaking about, like in Europe, everyone is speaking about how Russia is corrupted, how Serbia is corrupted, and so on, which is true, But, we are corrupted. We are not corrupted the same. In Serbia, you have, or in Russia, you have a corruption that, for example, you drive too fast, you can give money to the policeman, it's okay, fine, you can go. In France, you cannot do that, which I think is good, actually. But in France, you have very, very high level corruption between a very elite, like the elite of France is really corrupted. Between contracts, between we sell company to America, to Great Britain, to Germany, we get millions in cash and so on. That's a very, very high level of corruption in Serbia. Believe me, talking about corruption, in Serbia, your elite, they have a lot to learn to France. They don't know anything about corruption. They know about small corruption. They come to France, they come to Great Britain, they come to Germany, they come to USA. We are the master. We have PhD in corruption. In Serbia, you have like very, very low level. And second thing,
low.
Second thing about corruption, I studied political sciences in London as well. I studied a bit everywhere, but in London, and in London, they were always speaking about how we have to fight corruption. And it's what they did also in Serbia, how, the US embassies, the British embassies, the German embassies have programs to fight corruption in Serbia. Fine, no problem with that. But, why do you use that? Corruption, like all those fighting corruption programs, are programs using to corrupt Serbian politicians. Because first, you see those who are corrupted. And you say, okay, now I have a file on that guy. So I will use that file to make him vote a law about, for example, gay people that can get married, or to force him to have not 1, but 2 gay prides in Belgrade, for example. So you don't fight corruption. You use a corruption as a weapon to fight and to advance your agenda. And then when the guy is not corrupted, because many politicians in Serbia, in Romania, in France, in Europe are honest and they're not corrupted, then you corrupt them. And then when they're corrupted, you say, okay, look, you are corrupted, so do that or do that. And when third option, when the guy is really against you and is doing the job against you and he's not corrupted, then you pretend he's corrupted. And then, you can discriminate him and say, oh, he's corrupted, he's a bad guy, Putin is corrupted, Dodik is corrupted, everyone is corrupted. Yeah, I mean, it's true for many of them. But, they are all corrupted, so, they should not do the job, we should remove them from office and so on. So, corruption is a weapon created by the West, used by the West to control Eastern Europe. In Moldova, in Romania, in Serbia. Look, if they really wanted to destroy corruption in Serbia, they should have, European Union, when they had occasion, they should have taken down all the former Yugoslavian system that was ruling Serbia over corruption. But that's the system now ruling Serbia. So they don't fight corruption. They use corruption to advance their agenda and to force their politicians to do what they want. So my conclusion is, when you have people in Eastern Europe telling you about, I'm an NGO fighting against corruption, that's bullshit. I don't say corruption is good. I believe corruption is a crime against your people. When you steal money in Serbia, that money should go in Kosovo to help the Serbs in Kosovo. So that's the highest crime you can commit against your people. I don't say corruption is good. I just say that when American, German and French tell you about corruption in Serbia, that's bullshit, and you should not listen to them because they are the one corrupting your population.
Yeah, as you mentioned, NGOs, like 3, 4 months, 6 months ago, somebody asked Vučić, like, why don't you implement the FARA law about Foreign Registry Act about foreign agents? And he said, no way that I'm gonna do a thing like that. So that is, I understand you completely, and but this, I ask you this because when we talk about corruption through the levels, as you said, like Serbia and Eastern Europe is a low level corruption, but in Western Europe it's more high, it's much more money. But when we have a situation of war, when we have a situation where you have where European Union is financing a war in Ukraine, for an example, then it's more easy to go to corruption, because we saw in Ukraine, for example, we saw the reports of for example, Zelensky buying penthouses, buying villas. But I think that also there is European leaders who take some money, not only Zelensky.
Of course, I go very often on the French medias, on Russian medias, on Algerian medias, on many medias around the world, except Serbian, actually, by the way. Interesting. I don't know why. I think they don't know me, but I don't know why. I always...
I can tell you, excuse me, I can tell you why. I can tell you why, but okay, excuse me.
I always say I'm against the war in Ukraine. It's two people fighting together, two brother people fighting together. I pray for peace. I want peace to come like now. That will be perfect. But anyways, that's not the topic. But yes, of course, that war in Ukraine is continuing because there is corruption. You have to understand, the people listening to your show, they have to understand that, with all due respect to Serbia and Serbian army, when France sent one missile to Ukraine, our missile cost 10 times one missile you have in Serbia. So just imagine the level of corruption we have. Our weapons are really advanced weapons that cost a lot. Serbia bought actually French Rafale for billions, not millions, billions of euros. So, when we send weapons, we send billions. Of course, some people take the money, people making the missiles, they get money, politicians in Ukraine and others in France, in Great Britain, in Germany. Of course, all of them get their dime. I live in Paris. I live in a pretty decent neighborhood in Paris. I see so many Ukrainian girls coming. I'm really happy to see them, don't get me wrong. But how can you come? I mean, your country is at a war. You have no money. Your economy is collapsing. How can you come in France? How can you afford to live in my neighborhood, to go buy Louis Vuitton, Hermes, and other very high brand bags, because my mother is French, she cannot pay for those bags. So explain me, I am into business. Please give me your secret. I want to do the same business. I want to be successful as you. Okay, some of them are only fan models and so on, so I understand. But others, I see some guys and so on. It's because they get money from corruption. You have to understand that the general in the Ukrainian army that was not making any like 1,000-2,000 euro salary, I guess, few years ago. Now he's making millions out of weapons, out of cash coming from, when French President Macron says, "Oh, we're gonna give 2 billion of euros to Ukraine." Those 2 billion doesn't go to the front line. They don't go to the trenches, to the Ukrainian soldiers. No, they go to generals, they go to deputies, they go to everyone. And some of the money at the end of the day come to buying weapons to the Ukrainian soldiers, but not much. So, of course, war in Ukraine is a huge corruption machine. And I say that until that corruption machine is not stopped, the war in Ukraine will not stop. Because everyone actually even in Russia, in Serbia, because, Serbia sold weapons to Ukraine, in France, in USA, man, they give billions, not millions, billions in cash. Of course, the money is, floating, coming there and there. And I mean, just imagine, it's basic, it's stupid not to understand that. For example, I am the one selling French missiles. You are the Ukrainian guy. You are the one buying. We'll say, okay, look, Mario, you need missiles, buy mine. You say, oh yeah, but I spoke to Germans have nice missiles. Okay, look, you like Rolex, you like Patek Philippe. Look, take the watch. Oh, you want money for your wife to study in France? No worries, it's on me. And and you will get the highest bidder. And at the end of the day, we say, okay, look, the French guy is the highest bidder. I will go to France and I will buy the missile in France. You don't care because the money is coming from the States or even from France. But you will get money from that. I mean, it's basic business things. It's how it works in construction. It's how it works in everything. It's business. And people that don't understand are either stupid or they fake not to understand that.
Do you think, Paul, that European Union is going to survive? And what's your thought on Serbia government official politics that joining EU has no alternative?
That's a good question. So if EU is gonna survive, no. The question is when, and then I cannot tell you when EU will collapse. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 5, maybe, I don't know. I think EU has a huge migrant crisis. Germany, France, UK, even if UK is not the European Union, it's Europe. And it's all interconnected. So I think we have a huge migrant crisis. We have a huge economic crisis. We have a huge energy crisis, because we were buying cheap energy supply from Russia. We cannot anymore. Russian economy completely collapsed. It's something interesting, actually, coming back to your first question. In 2014, when Russia took Crimea, European Union put sanctions. We put sanctions against agriculture, and we put sanctions against the French Navy ships that were supposed to send to Russia. We didn't put sanction on car importation. Do you know what is, in 2014, what was the second largest market for Mercedes? For Mercedes, not for German cars, for Mercedes. It was St. Petersburg, not Russia. Not Russia. It was St. Petersburg. So a city was ranking countries, So Germany put sanction on agriculture. Who was the biggest agriculture leader in Europe and even part of the biggest in the world? It was France. So it destroyed French agriculture. We destroyed the French economy. Now the German economy is being destroyed because they cannot have cheap gas from Russia. And to have a strong economy like the German economy, they are in factories, they need cheap gas, and they don't have cheap gas anymore. So French economy collapsed, German economy is collapsing. So European Union will collapse. The question is when. I think it will come soon, but we still have money. And there is one big problem. In Europe, we can print the money. So we can give you money. Tomorrow we can give you billions because billion doesn't cost anything. It's a paper trail, So until they are printing money, the EU will not collapse. And also until the people is not going to wake up, EU will not collapse. But I see people waking up in Great Britain. I mean, I read that over 1 million British flags were put on the streets in even less than a week. That's waking up. Same in France, same in Germany. So I think people are waking up. And you also have forces, as you said, fighting inside, within the EU, like Poland, like Germany, like Slovakia. So all of that, it's pretty good sign. One day we will get free. Question is when, I don't know. Now about Serbia, look, it seems to me, with all due respect to Serbian people, I mean, you are always lost, man. You are at least 20 years lost. You are a bit in advance about Kosovo and Bosnia when you were fighting Muslim extremists. No, you are always lost. Lost and late. I mean, you are 20 years late. You want to join EU now when some people in Croatia are speaking about getting out of EU. That's beautiful, Croatia joined EU when it was the perfect time for them because they get the money from EU. Croatians are smart, I think. They joined EU when they needed to get EU money from EU. They rebuild everything in Croatia thanks to European Union money. And now some politicians speak about, well, maybe we should leave EU, not now, but soon. And you, Serbia, now you start to speak about joining EU. And look, one funny thing is when Serbia will join EU, even your money will not be Serbian because, the, let's say, Serbian European coin is the one with Tesla made by Croatia. So, even your money is being stolen. If you join EU tomorrow and, you have the meeting with the European Central Bank and say, okay, look, you have to choose for your money. So you say, okay, we take our biggest hero, Miloš Obilić and Knez Lazar. No, you cannot take them. It's too offensive against Albania. Okay, fine. We will take Nikola Tesla. No, sorry, already taken by Croatian, so you can't. So you are late. You are too late. To be a bit more serious now.
No, maybe, Paul, before you continue, please, the latest survey and report about how many Serbs want to join European Union, I think it's around 17% to 20%.
Yes.
Of Serbs wanting to join, and 60% or 65% are strictly against joining European Union. But I know that nobody's going to ask us. Nobody's going to ask us. They're just going to put us in. But trust me, the Ottomans couldn't handle us.
Yes, of course.
The Turks couldn't handle us. So I think the collapse of European Union is going to happen when Serbia joins.
That will be actually nice. Why not? I think Montenegro will join. No, I mean, Montenegro is still kind of a Serbian land, kind of. So Montenegro will join. We will see what's happening with Montenegro. But honestly, I don't think Serbia will join because many countries are against. In France, we are really against. So I don't think Serbia will join. I hope European Union will collapse before. And, Serbia cannot join because of practical issues. You have issues with Kosovo. You have to put sanctions against Russia. I don't see, honestly, I see Serbia could recognize Kosovo. I mean, on paper, it's more or less done. On practice, it's done. Serbia recognizes Kosovo. I'm sorry to tell you, but on practice, it's done. Putting sanctions against Russia.
Of course, thanks to Vučić.
Of course. Thanks to Vučić, to all his government, of course. But putting sanctions against Russia, I don't think so. And one more thing, once again, I don't know. I don't like to brag and to give you like answers and 6 months after I'm wrong because, I try to be honest. I seek for the truth and I like to speak for speaking. When I don't know, I say it. But I think Russia, at the end of the day, once again, I don't know, but will win the war in Ukraine. I mean, win depends of what we call winning. They will not take all over Ukraine, but they will take what they want in Ukraine. They will keep advancing. And at the end of the day, like in Georgia, now Georgia, they have a, let's say, not pro-Russian government, but they have a government who want to speak to Russia. The same will happen in Ukraine, because Ukrainian people are brother to Russia. They are different, yes, but they're brother to Russia. So at the end of the day, Russia will win the war in Ukraine, and that will be the defeat of European Union. A French hero, his name is Colonel Hogar, he's a pukovnik, and he was in Kosovo, wrote a book, very nice book, and the title is Europe is Dead in Pristina. He's right, because the principle of European Union, being equal, being just, died in Pristina, because we took the side of the mafia state of Kosovo. But economically speaking, Europe was not dead in Pristina. Politically speaking, it was not dead in Pristina. But with Russia, we died in Russia, because we have no cheap gas. We lied to our people so much. We lied a lot about Kosovo and the bombing of Serbia. But it's forgetting. Now we changed topic. And, it was 25 years ago. Serbia were also not very good on media. I don't know who was the Ministry of Media at that time. Maybe your president. I don't know. But, to be honest, that's it. I know, yeah. You were really not good on the media sphere. You get played on many things. So, okay, it was an easy game for the system at that time. Now in Russia, our minister, former finance minister, said, we're going to put the Russian economy on his knees. Same as we say to the Serbs, remember the time cover, we're going to put Serbs to the knees. We didn't do it with Russian, because Russian economy is working well, French economy is collapsing. And people, even if they don't like Russia, it's not, I'm not speaking in favor or against Russia. I don't care. They see basic things. Russian economy is not collapsing. French economy is collapsing. End of the story. So they see that our politicians lied to us. And they could lie about Balkan because Yugoslavia was not as strong as Russia. And also because Yugoslavia was a quick war. It was like 70 days of bombing, few months in Bosnia, no more. Russia, it's been years we have war. And the war we will continue, unfortunately, for years and years. And people will see the lie. Once again, I don't say 90% of French people will turn to be pro-Russian. It's not what I want. I want them to be pro-France. But they will understand that we lied to them. And then, they will start to wake up. And same happening to Serbia, by the way.
Yeah, really, when you right now spoke about Serbia having poor media propaganda during the 90s, you're right. During the 2000s, you were right. But the internet did something, changed something, because you don't have to be part of the political party to have your own studio or to have your own show. So we can talk right now, me and you, and nobody can stop us. Okay, they want to stop us. You have the European Union new laws about media, new laws about commenting. They are arresting people in Germany just because they are saying that Chancellor Merz is doing coke on the train with Macron and Keir Starmer, But there is much more to it. You also spoke about agriculture. When we talk about net zero, when we talk about climate change, hysteria, when we talk about destroying farmers, we see it happening across European Union. Then I don't know what was your stance during COVID hysteria. I was on the streets back then in Serbia. I was arrested because I protested against lockdowns and protested against vaccines and stuff. But something brought us together. Look, me and you right now, we are speaking, and we are different countries. We are far away from each other, but I think we have the same visual when it comes to future. Not the future where France will collapse, but the future where French will be in France and France will belong to French people.
Completely. And what you say is 100% right. And you are the good example of that. I will give you speak a bit about myself. A good friend of mine, I don't know, I think it was 6 months ago, 8 months. Anyway, I was in Belgrade and said, okay, look, there is one TV. I forgot the name. It's not that I don't want to give, but I forgot the name. I'm not sure, so I don't want to give the wrong name. But like official TV, said they would like to have to speak to have a quick interview with you. said, okay, why not? I go to the TV, very nice people to welcome me and so on. They ask me a question. I don't speak about Vučić. I don't speak about internal Serbian affairs. I speak about, they ask me about European Union, blah, 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 and so on. And then just last question about Kosovo. I said, basic stuff, but what I believe, Kosovo is Serbia, you should not give up on Kosovo and blah, blah, blah. And then the girl told me, it's beautiful, it's very nice what you said. We were supposed to broadcast you only once, but I spoke to the editor during you were doing the recording. We will put you every morning. I said, okay, fine, do whatever you want. If you are happy, I am happy. So, morning after, a friend told me, I didn't saw you on TV. I was like, okay, fine, I don't watch TV, so I don't know. Day after, same. And finally, they didn't broadcast me. Why? Because they want to silence people like me, and they want to silence people like you. But look, with your show, I will have more viewers than them. I went to some other Serbian podcasts, very good podcast, and I got more viewers than if I went to TV. So, of course, they want to silence you. They want to silence your guests. They want to silence me. Serbian government doesn't want me to speak. People like Arnaud Gouillon, they don't want me to speak because they want me silenced, because I say all the lies they did. For example, Arnaud Gouillon was on the Serbian embassy in Paris yesterday, posting some fancy pictures like, all the friends of Serbia are in Paris in the embassy tonight. Okay, I was not invited. Just to make it clear, I don't want to go to Serbian embassy, but I was not invited. Colonel Ogar was not invited. Nikola Mirkovic is a good, best activist, in Serbia. He was not invited. So no, that was, wonkers being invited and not friend of Serbia, And I've been invited once to Serbian embassy by a French MEP, actually, French MP, not even by the Serbian ambassador. And then I met Liliana Tanguy. She was a member of parliament at that time, and she's openly against Serbia. So I met that openly anti-Serbian lobbyist in the Serbian embassy. Beautiful. I love it. So, to come back to the point, they want to silence us, and they believe they can do that with media. But it's what I told you. They are 20 years late. Vučić is 20 years late because we don't care about media. Who is watching TV? That's the boomers, that's your parents and my parents, the boomers. But the young people, they go on Telegram, they go on X, they go on YouTube. I don't have TV at home. I believe TV is the enemy of the people. I go on TV many times, but I don't have TV. And now the show is made on X. You do more job than, I will stay polite, many Serbian TV, official TV, pink TVs, informers, and so on. So they can try to silence us, but it doesn't work. And, that's why also the protesters are working so well in Serbia, because people see the truth, because they don't watch RTS, they don't watch informers, they don't watch pink, or, they used to watch them, and then they watch to Mario Zna. They look, the guy says something different. I think he's wrong. He's not official TV. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. I know that he's right because I saw that on the streets. So maybe RTS is wrong. Okay, and then you start to think a bit. And when you're young now, you have ChatGPT, you have the TikTok, you have all the social networks, and you see the truth. On X, you see the truth. And the media battle is here. Look, Tucker Carlson, like him or not, that's not the question. He's making more views on X with his show than in NBS on any other TV show. So, all those old bourgeoisie people, because TV was a bourgeoisie, when you hold TV, you hold the people. It's what Vučić still thinks in his old socialist Yugoslavian mentality. So all those TV presentator. Once again, I go to TV every day, so I know them. I was in Montenegro in Sveti Stevan. I met some stupid Serbian TV presentator and so on. They all believe they rule the world because they are the one that can let you speak or not. But wake up, girl. I don't care about you because, I was invited, you contacted me 3 days ago. I mean, in 10 minutes it was done, and I will have more viewers than if you invite me to your RTS show and so on. So once again, they are 20 years late, and they don't understand that. And that's why we're going to win, because people start to wake up thanks to that and thanks to the job you do.
Thanks, Paul, and I really appreciate it. And I really feel what you're saying and thinking the same. I like to say that I'm the one here in Serbia who is going to take mainstream media to the graveyard, because I think it's the place for mainstream media, poisoning the people since the box came inside of the house. They are poisoning the people. They are making wars. They're responsible for wars, man. Like it's crazy, and people are waking up. Of course, that we are late. When I look at the numbers, for example, the X platform, the X Twitter, is #1 social app in France, for example.
Of course.
And in Serbia, it's Facebook. It's Zuk's Facebook. And who is on Facebook? And here in Serbia, like, people are late. What can we do? But slowly we are coming to the point that we are going to realize as a nation, these globalists, global demons, as I call them, who gave us the internet, they know how to suppress it 100%. So we always find a way to put the information. You know what I wanted to ask you? I was living also abroad. I lived from Israel to Slovakia to Belgium, but I was never in France. And I know a lot of Serbs who are in France. A lot of them don't speak French, and I always tell them, like, "What the fuck, man? Like, learn French." No, but I don't need it. Learn French, you motherfucker. I'm sorry, but there is a lot when it comes to integration. I'm 100% for it. When I lived in Slovakia, I celebrated Christmas with my friends. They celebrated Christmas with me, and I had a few roommates from France. And listen to this. This is where I'm getting to a question. I'm meeting like a few guys, Aldrich, Sylvan, and Nico, and three of them, and they're called like, "Mario, let's go grab a beer." And they're sitting with me in the bar, and they're asking me a question like, "Mario," and I'm going to put some accent. "Mario, can you tell us, please, who is Arkan, and what do the 4S mean in Serbia?" And I was like, "Wow, how do you know about it? How do you know about 4S?" So our French people, and those are guys from Britannia, from the north, are the French still considering Serbia as French, not French government, not French politics, but the French people? Are they considering Serbs as an allies? And we were great allies.
I am from Britain.
Yeah,
I'm from Brittany, by the way.
Yes. Great.
Well, yes, because we saw Serbia fighting again. Many people say in the propaganda fighting Serbia fought against Islam. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. I've been many times in Republika Srpska, in Bosnia, in Kosovo. No, it's wrong. I organized trips in Kosovo with French politicians. And I remember one trip, I brought one French senator. I'm the first one who did that. By the way, he was never invited to any of those stupid parties Gouillon is speaking about. So that's the real friends of Serbia. But anyway, into brackets. So, and that senator asked me, look, it was in Kosovo. He asked me when I could go to Kosovo. Now I'm banned. And he asked me, okay, what is the war in Kosovo? Is that a religious war between Orthodox and Muslim? I said, no. Maybe it can become. But Albanians are not really Muslim, and it's a war of territory. It's a war of a nation, And, we saw in the 90s Serbs not fighting against Islam. We saw them fighting to be free and fighting against NATO. Who bombed Serbia? It's not Qatar. It's not. Look, I know what Saudi did. I know what Iran did. It's not what I say. It's not what I say. What I say is that the Western liberal world tried to destroy Serbia, and they bombed Serbia. It was French, it was British, it was American jet that bombed Serbia. So of course they used Muslim extremists and so on in Bosnia and Kosovo. It's not what I say. What I say is that we saw Serbs fighting for being free. simply for being free, to say, look, Kosovo is Serbia, simple as that, so I fight. And me, I'm coming from a French family. My dad was an officer in the army. My granddad was an officer in the army. He made war against German, then in Indochina, then in Algeria. My other granddad, he was not in the army, but when France was occupied, he took his small boat to go to London to fight against Germans. My granddad was an officer, I have the swords and so on. So I am from a French family, proud of being French. And I told you about people. And what I saw with Serbs, they fought not against Islam, not against Albanians, not against anything. They fought just to be Serbs, just to be free. And they say, look, Kosovo is Serbia, we fight for that. And, when I could go to Kosovo, I went to monasteries, of course, and I went to Velika Ocha. And then I spoke to a guy. And, I wanted to challenge him a bit. I said, look, you are not rich in Kosovo, your family is now in central Serbia. Why do you stay? I wanted to challenge him a bit. And I said, you have no money, you have nothing. Why don't you sell your house to Albanians? You will get a lot of money and you go to Belgrade. And the guy told me, it's been centuries I'm in Kosovo. I will never left. And, when you read the book, Fighting Against the Modern World of Julius Evola, that's those guys. He doesn't know, but he's speaking about the Serbs in Kosovo, the Serbs in Bosnia and Republika Srpska. There is huge discussion about Dodik. I don't want to speak about that. It's not what my point. But, I was invited because I believe he's doing the job at least more than Vucic. I was always invited to the 9th of January. And I remember he came and he said, look, European Union is preventing us to do that celebration. But here I am standing in front of you to do it. And he said, Merry Christmas. And you have all the room saying, Merry Christmas to you, Christ is born, And that's the people. Serbs, they fought for that. They didn't fight against Muslims because they believe they're better. No, they fought because they want to be free in Serbia, which is in Republika Srpska, in Kosovo, same in Montenegro. Montenegro, and I go to Montenegro everywhere. So I don't speak much about Montenegrin politics because I don't want to be banned. At the end of the day, I will be banned from Kosovo, from Serbia, Montenegro. No, I will not be able to go to the Balkan at all. So, but in Montenegro, people protested not against Milo Djukanovic, no. They protested because, look, Montenegro joined NATO, they said nothing. Montenegro recognized Kosovo. Fucking recognized Kosovo. They said nothing. When you go to Podgorica, I was there 3 weeks ago, you see the flag of Kosovo and next to the flag of NATO. But when Milo said, okay, now we're going to destroy the church, because it's how it is. We're going to make a Montenegrin bullshit church. And I'm not even Orthodox, so, let's say it's not my matter. But then Serbs in Montenegro say, no. We don't touch our church. And they rised. And they said, why? Because, many of them don't even go to church every Sunday. Most of my friends in Serbia, they don't go to church every Sunday, but they have the respect of religion because it's what I told you. Religion is who you are. It's your tradition. It's in your vein, in your blood, in your DNA. And they say, no, we want to stay Serbian Orthodox. So don't touch our church. And for 1 year, no one in the media were speaking about them. It was snowing, raining, and they made a revolution, a peaceful and silent revolution, and they won. So, Serbs, they just fought to be free. They always fought to be free. Serbia is a free country. And what is the most beautiful name in Serbia? It's not a question. I will tell you. And it's Slobodan. Because Slobodan means being free. And the Serbian people is a free people. There is nothing more beautiful than being free individually. I can speak to you because I'm free. You can speak to me because you are free. Many people, in the government, I lived in Russia. I won't give name because they are nice people at the end of the day. I know some advisors to Vucic, to prime ministers and so on. I forgot his name. Anyway, I know some of them because I studied with them. In Moscow, they were the biggest patriot, listening to Tsetsa, to Arkanovi Tigrovi, the Three Fingers and everything, Rocky Vulovic. Yeah. They were the biggest Serbian patriots. Now they're nothing. you know. And now when I see them, you know, I remember one girl, I meet her just by chance in one club in Belgrade. No, she was not very happy to see me. And I said, what changed? Come on, you know, I'm still myself, you know. Maybe you are not still yourself anymore. But because they are not free. But, you know, it's important to be free. And just to finish, there is a myth story, but I really love that story. I'm sure you know it. It's the night before the Battle of Kosovo. There is an angel coming to Knez Lazar. You can see him here, actually. And the angel says to Knez Lazar, okay, look, you have two options. Either tomorrow you're gonna win the battle, but you cannot lose. You cannot die. No, so you win the battle, but you die, so you don't enjoy life anymore. Either you lose, you submit to the Turks, but it's not the Turks, you know. You submit, and then you're gonna be the best and the most important Tsar in Serbian now, like presently. And he said, no, I'm gonna go to battle tomorrow. And you know, we still remember Knez Lazar. And here you are with a French Catholic, no Serbian roots, and he has Knez Lazar here. So, you know, the story is that it's always better to be free because it's how you live. You know, at the end of the day, I believe in God. I believe that I live when I will be, I hope, in heaven. And it was the choice of Knez Lazar to be free. And he did that choice not for him, for the Serbian people. So, you know, I have a spoiler alert for the Serbs. You don't have choice. Whether you like it or not, you don't have choice. You have the blood of Knez Lazar in your vein. You don't have choice. You will only be free. And just to finish, sorry, I'm a bit long, but I wrote one article one day, and the title was, actually they changed the title, but because they didn't really understand. But the first title was "The Serbs, the Last Savage of Europe." So, you know, because at that time I was studying in London. And, you know, when we were speaking about Serbia, it was always, oh, Serbs are savages, you know, and so on. And, you know, it was during COVID. So I will answer a bit your question on COVID. It was during COVID, and I was going to the Serbian Orthodox Church sometimes. And so, you know, COVID in London, you know, you couldn't speak to people like miles away. You had to wear a mask, like, you know, big stuff. And I was not vaccinated, you know, so I was an alien, you know. And I go to the church, you know, I kiss icon, like everyone kissing, you know, we kiss the same icon, okay, nice. I speak to people without any mask, of course. And, you know, then we all take the blood. And I mean, you know, you see what I mean. And then at the end of the church, the celebration, I speak to, you know, some people I know. And one guy take a bottle of rakia and, you know, drink, spill it in every drinks. And, you know, we drinks without mask, you know, just like that, normal gathering. And then I was like, look, those guys in university that are labeled as savage, they are less savage than the government who impose us to sign papers to go out, who impose us masks, who impose kids to stay in their room for 1, 2, 3 years. And they are the savage. Okay, man, I am a savage as well. So I wrote my article, Serbs are the last savage. Because don't take it as an insult. Take it as an award. Be proud of being a savage, because being a savage is being free. That's the most important.
Yeah, in a new world order, all of the people who want to be free are savages. It doesn't matter if you're from Germany, from France, from UK, you're a savage, you're a terrorist if you want to be free. You're Nazi if you want to be free, or you're everything evil if you just want to be free. And this is like this is our first time we talk, and Paul, I think that you and me are going to do a lot more of talking, because I just you know,
Okay,
it's
with
the first
pleasure.
time I see how far can you go, and I see that you can go really far, and that it's going to be my pleasure to talk to you soon. We'll have time, because
Pleasure.
really I have just met you right now in this episode, and I'm really happy for it, and I see that we can do a lot of things to help people to be free and to stay free. And one question before the end, just because right now I can hear my family members screaming from the other rooms, because Serbia is playing Portugal in basketball, in Euro basket.
You're
And
gonna win.
Yeah, of course, but but we are sitting like watching some teams playing, and of course it comes like France, Italy, and this is where I'm getting my wife, like me, we are looking at each other and say like, how can French or Italians cheer their team when maybe I'm going to sound racist, but I don't care. When you have like you don't have Frenchmen in your national team, like if that happens to us, like I'm going to kill myself.
Because that's the last moment of patriotism we have. I'm gonna sound bad against Serbs, but I'm not. I remember one day, like I never understood why Serbs were so proud of Djokovic. I mean, he's a good person, I'm not criticizing him, but I was like, why when you win a game you are so happy? Because actually, as a French or as a Serbian, nowadays, I'm speaking about nowadays, we cannot be proud of our country. Give me one thing nowadays, not history, to be proud of what Serbia is doing now. No. Actually, many Serbs are leaving Serbia. Same with France. I am proud of my country, of course, and I'm sure you are proud of being Serbian. Don't get me wrong. But nowadays, they don't do anything. They destroy our countries. So we cannot be proud of a country who is being destroyed. I'm sorry. And football, for example, talking about France, is the last moment where they allow us to be proud. They say, yeah, you can be a bit patriot, because the rest of the year we cannot be patriot. In UK they put British flag, they are taking them off. So the only moment you can be proud is not about history. Oh no, there is no. In France there is still a big military parade. Some politicians want to take it off. In Serbia there is no military parade. Someone wanted to make a big military parade to remember the bombing. Vucic said, "Oh no, American embassy said no." Okay, fine. So no. The only moment we can be proud is not through history, because there is nothing. It's not through cultures, because we don't have cultures. You Serbs, me French, we don't have cultures. Our president says that, so is that right? So the only moment they allow us to take the flag and to be proud, it's to play sport. And I think it's very dangerous, because being proud of a sport is bullshit. When Djokovic wins, to be honest, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm happy for him, but I don't care. When French team wins, I don't care. When Swiss team wins, I don't care. Because for me, it's kind of fake patriotism. Sorry, but for me, it's fake patriotism. So I take my flag when I have something to celebrate for France. I'm happy, when we win Nobel Prize. Yes, I am happy, because that's something important. I am happy, despite the opening of the Olympic game, which like the opening ceremony was a total bullshit, but the rest of the Olympic game were very nice. I was proud as a French, but I'm not proud because France won 50 medals or 100. No, I was proud because we could make a nice event. I am proud, when I see Serbs celebrating in the 9th of January. I am proud of that. But with games, with sports, not that pride, and that's the fake patriotism they allow us to be. They say, oh, you can be patriots for 1-2 hours. And look, there is something very dangerous, because now in Serbia, you still have many hooligans and so on, which is good. I don't care about Partizan and Red Star. I'm not into that, but it's good. You still have that partisan, strong support for the team. Don't forget something. I'm not from Paris, but I live in Paris. We had the best hooligans with PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. Like 20 years ago, we were the best. Same in England. And they destroyed us. Because, in the TV, they were showing, oh, look, the stupid hooligans, working class guys wearing the flag. They're stupid. You don't want to look like them, so don't wear the flag. And, they use sport, patriotism in sport, to make it look old-fashioned, like bollock for working class stupid people. So I'm not so really into sport in the sense I do sport and so on, but I'm not really into sport in the sense that I'm a bit afraid. I'm suspicious of how they want to use it after and so on. So to answer your question, I don't cheer for my team. I cheer when the French players, no matter how they are, white, black, or whatever, when they won in MMA, because I think it's a big, great sport. It's a strong sport. Last time I watched the game with Djokovic against Alcazar, I was impressed by both. Honestly, it was impressive. I was impressed by Djokovic. I think the guy is 40-something. But, I will be a bit, to the conclusion, I will be like, your viewers will hate me, but I will be a bit provocative. Djokovic, of course, he's Serbian, because, he's Serbian, he say that. But he doesn't train in Serbia. He has no support from Serbian government, and he got no money for the start from Serbian government. So is he really Serbian in the sense that Serbia made him? No, he was not made in Serbia. He was made a bit in France, a bit in the States. I don't know his story perfectly, but I know he was not really trained in Serbia because at one point he had to leave. And, that's the question. The question, you should be proud of your country to make the next Djokovic. Once again, Djokovic is a perfect guy, great guy. I really like him. It's nothing against him. During COVID, he was a hope. I loved when he played Veselis Serbski Rode. I love him. Don't get me wrong. But is he really Serbian in the sense that he was made by Serbs, by the Serbian government and so on? No, because Serbian government is not doing anything for the next Djokovic to come, because all the good players, they are leaving Serbia to play in France, to play in the USA. Look, Jokic, right? He's playing in the States. He cannot play in Serbia. So, they don't prepare the ground to make the next Djokovic, the next Jokic, to be a son of Serbia, in the sense he did everything in Serbia. Djokovic is trying to do that, but the government is against him. So, that's why.
Yeah, even Djokovic. No. Even Djokovic have now moved his tournament to Greece. Serbs know that.
It says everything.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's
that's
great.
Why for me the sport pride. I'm a bit skeptical with that, because that's the only pride our government let us. I don't care about that. I'm proud because I'm French. I'm proud because I'm the son of Napoleon. I'm proud because I'm the son of Louis XIV, of General de Gaulle, of all of that. And as a Serbs, you should not be proud because you will win basketball today. Okay, it's good for you. I'm happy for you. You're gonna just drink rakia, but no, you must be proud because of Knez Lazar, because of Tesla. You should fight for Tesla. Honestly, I'm ashamed. I was in Montenegro, as I told you, and I saw the cone. I think I kept it actually. I saw the cone, the cone, European cone with Nikola Tesla. Man, that's a Croatian one. That's not a Serbian one. So if you ask my neighbor, he doesn't know anything about history, he will say, "Wow, Tesla is a Croatian guy. I saw it on the cone, on the money." So Serbia should, you should be proud of Tesla. You should fight of Tesla. Tesla is a brand car, American one. And no one even invited Musk to come in Serbia. And then you have pathetic Arnaud Gouillon going to Serbian embassies around the world to say, "Oh, I speak to friends of Serbia around the world." Man, what the fuck, man? Be honest, be honest.
Yeah.
That's the real pride. We should think about the real pride.
This is Paul. This is exactly why we are doing it. Why I'm doing it right now, and some of my colleagues. But this is why I especially started doing international podcasts and having guests like you.
I made a small mistake. I spoke a bit too fast. There is one thing French must be proud, and I'm proud of actually recently. That was the yellow jackets, and same in Serbia. What's happening today in Serbia is a waking up, and that we must be a bit proud, because when I see the videos of Serbian students or Serbian people going with the banner of the Christ, with the Serbian flag, I'm proud of that. I'm not Serbian, but I'm proud. So that, I think you must be more proud of that than any other sporting. And same for me in France. I was really proud of the yellow jacket.
Yeah, of course. And next time when we speak, and I we didn't finish still, but I can't wait the next time, and we will give more time to focus on Serbia, because a lot of things are happening right now here. Not right now, last 10 months when it comes to protests and the government, which is telling that Soros is behind it, but the government is inviting Soros like every month to the office. So it's pretty crazy, but I know that people are trying to. I know that people are seeing that, and I know that the true French know the truth. And till next time we meet, it will be soon. Please book me, Paul. Thank you very much for being my guest tonight.
Welcome. Hvala puno for the invitation.